Hey, welcome back to my page. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different and kind of go over my process for inking on my dragon. So you can see that I've already done the pencil work. A lot of times those first lines that I put down are more of a guide to myself on where I want to go, and I don't necessarily follow everything verbatim. As I'm changing line lengths on my inking, I make decisions and make a few changes here and there. I find that if I'm trying to hold myself exactly to those lines, it kind of curtails my creativity and my flow on the piece. So I use it as a guideline. I just start going and I fill in the gaps. So you can see here as I'm doing my lines, I also kind of jump back and forth on the piece depending on where I feel the flow is going. Again, for me, it's not putting expectations on myself on how this is going to go or what has to happen. I just kind of go with the feel and do details and items as I move along through the piece. So I've kind of now done the basic structure of him, got his major folds, the outside lines in. So I'm going to go back in and start to fill in details of the horns. And then on this one, I'm trying to do a little bit more detail in the scales. So you'll see me add some in here and there as I'm going through, kind of like a crocodile where his scales right near the head are smaller and then they get wider as they go down through the crocodile. I'm kind of following that same idea on him. And at this point, I've also decided not to fill in every gap. So I'm adding enough detail to show that those are there and to give that structure, but I don't want to add every little detail of the piece. Since I'm going to come back and watercolor this later, I want to make sure that I leave room myself to add color, add shading, do other things. It may mean that after I do the watercolor, I come back in and add more of these details, but for now, I don't want to overburden it with details. And I may have already, who knows? Sometimes you don't know until you actually go in and start painting. So this also means that as I'm adding this detail, I'm considering the paint that I'm going to be doing and where I'm going to put these items down. So there's a lot going on here, but at the same time, trying to let the flow go and just trying to go with it. I pause a few times, kind of deciding where I want to go next, but for the most part, I don't try to overthink this. I just want it to go. I want it to feel natural and have the flow go. So hopefully you enjoyed this and it makes sense. If you want me to do more things like this as I do paints, let me know, and I'll be glad to answer questions or do more.